Hello and welcome to another Epyx game for the Commodore 64. This time we're looking at Supercycle. Surprise, surprise, Epyx managed to make another possibly best in show game for the Commodore 64, considering how old it is compared to other motorcycle racing games. I don't think from an overall quality perspective this was ever surpassed. The difficulty level set by the way it determines the initial time you have available. From stage 1 you will have a 1 minute 45 seconds at level 1, 1 minute 30 at level 2 and 1 minute 15 at level 3. As you can probably imagine, your score will be higher per difficulty level, and the time bonus you get from the time remaining from a stage into the next stage is higher at the higher levels. So that's the main challenge, basically, that you have 15 seconds less per difficulty, and trying to play this at the hardest difficulty on your first play is probably not going to get you very far, because as with any racing game, memorization of tracks is a required thing. And one little hint I can give up front is you can see the yellow stripes in the middle. If you notice, when you are racing, you can see the tip of them seem to have a thinner line, and that will actually indicate the turn coming up. If that line is mainly to the right, then you have a right hand turn coming up, and if it's mainly to the left, it's an indication of a left hand turn coming up. It's a nice little trick to know. Regardless, graphically this is actually one of the better looking motorcycle games for the Commodore 64, and the sound design, the motorcycle sounds okay itself, but the screeching sound when you are trying to go too fast to a corner gets a bit on my nerves after a while, to be honest. And of course, because you're countering the sharpness of the curve, you tend to, as soon as you straighten up, to overcompensate and cut across the track very sharply. It's a minor thing, but it's definitely something to be aware of. The 3 gears you have are manual gears, and it definitely benefits you to push as far as you dare in your gears in order to get the best possible acceleration, because as you can see, other motorcycles will come from behind and cause you to crash very happily. You cannot force them to crash, but they will happily force you to crash. If you are driving at roughly the same speed as them when they are coming in from behind, you can get them to give you a little speed boost, but by and large you don't want to get entangled with other motorcycles. That will usually end up in you crashing or losing your motorcycle, which of course means that you have to re-accelerate, which again means that you are penalized quite heavily, and at the highest difficulty setting, any crashes is going to cost your race, most likely. As you can probably imagine, as you progress through the different stages, it gets gradually more complicated, more sharp turns to deal with, and of course later on it starts putting obstacles in your path, basically cutting it down to a single lane you can effectively use for driving, and of course with the other motorcycles around and them turning left in right hand turns and things like that can make the actual driving width you have available rather narrow. I do find the other motorcycles driving to be extremely erratic and very annoying. But at the same time, if you look at a game like Lotus, the Speed Turbo Challenge, and similar games where cars are driving from side to side no matter what they are doing, it's acceptable. You just have to tolerate it as part of the game. We're coming up to the end of stage 3. And after every 3 stages you get a bonus stage, which is there for you to gain points and to gain extra time for the following stage, or the following stages basically. There's a bunch of flags, and they're starting from the middle, and then they will move slightly out to the right and then back towards the left. The very first bonus track is rather simple. It's a straight line all the way, and you can actually rig up quite a lot of points on this specific level, but more importantly it's the time you gain. So you still want to make sure you don't crash, because you still have other motorcycles to deal with, and the next block of stages coming after this one will start getting progressively more and more difficult. From a technical point of view, this is without question the smoothest fast-paced motorcycle game on the Commodore 64. There's no competition. If there is, then I haven't seen it, and I'm fairly sure there isn't. And I think one of the main reasons that this game is running so smooth is because the team behind it were being very smart about how they gave the sense of speed. Something that I've seen in a lot of games, and it annoys the heck out of me, is when you have the ground tiles alternating in color. Usually it's a minor color difference, but they use that as a reference in order to give you a sense of speed when you're driving faster and faster. Personally, I think it looks extremely ugly outright. I'm not a fan of it. But what they've done with Supercycle is by using a racing track curb, which of course is white and red squares, and simple side objects like lampposts, bushes and things like that, nothing overly complicated. They have managed to produce a sense of speed which is quite believable, without the game starting to chop like crazy, and I think it's very effective. I would have appreciated if other racing games were using a similar technique instead of trying to make use of all sorts of other visual magic in order to make you think that you were going much faster than you actually were. By and large though, I don't think you will find any better motorcycle game on the Commodore 64. You'll probably find some that are, I don't know, more advanced and things like that, but as an overall experience, Supercycle is where it's at. So if you are into high score chasing motorcycle games for the enough challenge to keep you going, then Supercycle is definitely a great game. And of course, it's an outright classic. Very good for the time it was made. And on that note, I'm going to say thanks for watching, take care, and see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.